Ahoy, fellow satanic panickers.
And welcome aboard the Joy of Trek, a swindling podcast exploring the science stations and planetary cataclysms of Star Trek.
All of it.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
And impersonating Klingon cryptids is your chief engineer, Greg.
Say that 10 times fast.
Together we're on a mission through the courtrooms of Star Trek to find the loophole in every contract and the excellence in every episode.
Even the android arbitrator.
Because every episode must be someone's favorite, and it might as well be ours.
So make Picard disappear and join us as we cloak into
The Joy of Trek.
Hello, everyone. Did you guess which episode we're talking about today?
That is right. We are doing Next Generation, Season 4, Episode 13, Devil's Due.
First aired on February 4th, 1991. I see lots and lots of writing credits on this one, by the way. That's a piece of the trivia history. I think something like 15 people worked on it over the course of
You know what they usually
2
say?
decades.
Success has many fathers, but failure has none. Clearly not true in this case.
Oh, whoa! Didn't you like this episode?
I found that it stretched the needs on my suspension of disbelief to the extreme.
Okay. I'm going to resist the urge to sort of jump in on that, of course, because we just started the episode. Because, well, with this being the case, are you then the best person to describe what this episode is like for our listeners at home? Because there's going to be a certain bias, I imagine.
Oh, well, look, okay, actually, I really should start thinking about these before
No,
we get
I
into
love
this
the way that
episode.
comes straight out of your juicy brain.
All right. Well, the crew of the Enterprise tries to con man. Oh, that's far too factual about what's going on.
Yeah.
Swindled by strange powers abroad, the crew of the Enterprise must fight for the survival of their independence.
All right. That's still very sort of TV guy.
I know, right? It's hard one to make fun out of. Oh, gee.
I mean, it's another one where
Ripley's Believe It or Nothing visits the Enterprise and tries to take over.
And Picard gets his captain's pips off.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We see him in his very sexy little nightie.
Yeah, right? I like seeing him in that.
Well, because you didn't chime in yourself, I need to chime in here to say that the official synopsis is the USS Enterprise D responds to distress signal from a science station on Ventax 2, where the planet is in chaos over the return of a being who claims to be that culture's devil.
So, what did people think of this? Like, you have your particular opinion.
Let's see. Go on, good thing. Robert Blackman was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Costumes for a series for this episode.
I had that on my trivia as well.
Awarded,
yeah.
not awarded, so I didn't win it. You know, that's how it always goes. Like, nominated, so didn't win.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an award-losing costume designer. Yes.
So Keith Candido watched it for Tor.com and thought that Marta Dubois' performance was the only reason why this episode is in any way watchable. Barely.
Okay.
Zach Hanlon from Rating for the AV Club thought more positively of it. He didn't think that Captain Picard was pretending to be Captain Kirk for most of the episode, and that it didn't have any real drama, but it was silly, goofy fun for the most part.
Valid. Actually, all of them, yeah.
Jamal from Jammer's Reviews gave it 1 star. In 1 word, it's weak. In 2 words, it's really weak. Who cares if the Ventaxians are exploited? Frankly, given their stupidity, they deserve it. And who cares about all the contrived tech details of investigating Ardra? And who cares about this woman lusting after Picard? And who cares the Enterprise disappeared? Which plays like lame, unintended comedy. The narrative is a choppy exercise in tedium, revering its utter desperation by finally just becoming a courtroom episode.
Listen, okay, I don't disagree with anything anyone has said, and for me, they're all positives.
Okay.
This is what I want from Star Trek. This is the era of Star Trek where it was. Oh, there's more?
There is one more, which is by someone called Elliot, who commented on Jamal's review. But I think we'll save that one for the end. And see if
that's exciting.
Yes.
That'll be, what's it called? Your closing arguments.
Well, no.
Shall we do this like a court? I want to be...
No, it's not suitable for that. But it's like, I'd like to see where we arrive during our a discussion of this episode and seeing if we are in any way in agreement with Elliot at that point or not.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, this is going to be unusual because I was like, it makes sense for me to be the defense and you to be the prosecutor. And then it also makes sense for Greg to be the arbitrator.
Oh, yes, of course.
Can't hear his rulings. So
that is very true.
that's going to be confusing. But we do have one more person to listen to.
Yes, because who recommended this?
And we even have a very special treat, at least a treat for those of us who are recording right now, because the person who's recommended it, whose name is, let me just check. Oh, that's IronBoomer. He/him has recorded his recommendation for us, and we can listen to it.
Excellent. Bring it on.
Hi there, guys. I requested this particular episode, TNG Devil's Due, because frankly, it's one of my favorites as an adult. I never got to watch it as a kid, although I did get to watch the later seasons with my parents. And honestly, this episode is pure Patrick Stewart and Brent Spiner at their best. Patrick is a lot of fun in his confrontation with the villain of the week, and much less Brent Spiner reacting to as to some of the more comedic moments. And the guest actress of Marta Dubois, she's just too much fun. She's enjoying every single minute of playing this con artist, cosplaying as the devil. Well, it ends up just being the average Trek legal drama and a half-bottle episode, some of it on the Enterprise, some of it on the custom sets. Everyone is bringing their A game, and it just shows through. So, hope you guys like it as much as I do. It's IronBoomer signing off.
Well, one of us does, IronBoomer. No, but this is the whole ethos of our show, right?
Totally.
To take these unloved or middle-of-the-road episodes, to get a recommendation from someone who absolutely, totally loves it, and maybe redeem it. I mean, nobody's under any obligation to change their opinion.
Of course not.
It's just that those of us who are on Team Kaki, I think, enjoy their, mortal span of life maybe a little bit more. It's possible.
So thank you very much for recommending that to us.
Yes.
And I do believe we don't have any warp cores to eject. I mean, no.
No, right?
No, nothing that other than, the sheer gullibility. Well, that's not really true. So, no warp cores to eject, no egregious... No?
No,
I don't think so, no. So...
let's fly!
We open with a ghost of Christmas, whatever. No, it's just the ghost of, what's his face? Morley, that's the one.
Morley, who says,
"You don't believe in me."
To which Data replies,
I don't.
So Data is playing Ebenezer Scrooge, or at least I think they're rehearsing, or it's just maybe just an exercise, because Picard is sitting in the comfy chair watching Data perform, and when he comes to the climax of this particular scene, he compliments him on his acting, basically.
Yeah. Like Picard's sitting there in this sort of Dickensian Sherlock Holmesy kind of room,
right,
setting the stage for our listeners at home because it's an audio medium, where Data is sat in a big comfy chair with his nightcap on, playing Ebenezer Scrooge, who is, he's such a little tart.
Oh, absolutely.
Really.
Gravy.
Why, there's more of gravy than of grave about you.
And it's like Picard is sitting there with a book lit by the fireplace, almost as if he's sort of sitting there casually reading.
As the stories. I guess he's got the lines. It's the lines. I mean, I don't see why he would need that.
Maybe that's just his excuse that he's giving. He's actually sort of just reading a magazine and trying to ignore this terrible play that his friend is performing for him again.
He doesn't really need the book, because, Data's not going to flub his lines.
Yeah.
So it's not like he has to sit there and read up to keep going with it. The holodeck is going to play their part perfectly.
And because there's a straight up ghost. Ghost.
I know, right? Yeah.
Floating about.
Right. There's a little bit of a discussion about the nature of acting and the nature of humanity, and how Data is trying to explore the one through the other.
Yes, and he's chosen a particular set of acting teachers as his mentors.
I find myself attracted to Stanislavski, Adler, Garnoff.
And this little sort of interchange between them is very, very metatextual in this case, because Patrick Stewart had done a run of A Christmas Carol on theatre, which eventually a film was made of, was hugely successful, where he was Scrooge.
Yes.
There goes Mr. Asshole, there goes Mr. Bitch.
Okay, that sounds more like the Muppet Christmas Carol.
I was kind of doing the Muppet Christmas Carol. Oh, God, somewhere out there in the multiverse, there's a universe where it was Patrick Stewart in the Muppets Christmas Carol, and that would be perfect.
Instead of, what's his name again?
Oh, cool, blimey, Governor.
Yes,
Oh,
him.
lordy. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. Chief, what the is his name?
Okay, I'm very glad that you chimed in to ask me about this because it does give me a chance to correct something because you said Morley. It's not Jacob Morley, it's Jacob Marley because the Muppets are Jacob and Robert Marley. Anyway, Scrooge and that is played by Michael Caine. Wonderful.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, obviously.
And then, of course, there's the other one
Okay.
in the Muppets pirate thing, which is
Muppets Treasure
Treasure
Island.
Island. That's the one, yes.
Yeah, and it's Tim Curry.
Tim Curry, yes. And I once saw an interesting...
Upstage, lads. Show him you've been practicing.
I saw him a little description about the two, why in Muppets Christmas Carol, the human treats his Muppets as fellow actors, but it works in Treasure Island because Tim Curry plays himself as a Muppet.
Come on, boys. This is my only number. The sort of metatextual bit is Picard is not at all impressed with his choice, Data's choice of the method, because Patrick Stewart himself is classically trained.
He's a thespian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they don't have high opinions, or at least at the time, of method actors. And also it's kind of confusing, like for an android who doesn't experience these emotions and therefore can't inhabit them and summon them from a place of truth. But, says Data,
Sir, I have modified the method for my own uses. Since I have no emotional awareness to create a performance, I am attempting to use performance to create emotional awareness. I believe if I can learn to duplicate the fear of Ebenezer Scrooge, I will be one step closer to truly understanding humanity.
Fake it till you make it.
kind of, but this is also like a therapeutic technique.
Oh.
Right? The idea of like physical reflexive, I should say, smiling, right, improves your mood. And that is a technique that for some people in certain circumstances can be advantageous.
Why don't I gaslight myself into believing that I'm not depressed anymore? Oh, wait, that's just cognitive behavior therapy.
Kind of, right? Like a lot of your mood is regulated by hormones, and there are things that you can do with your body that can release these hormones. Of course, it's hugely complicated and not everything works for everyone, and we have neurodiverse people in our species, but it's a really interesting approach, I think. And a not terribly successful setup for the theme of the episode, but that's what you get with 15 writers.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. I mean, it does allege a little bit to what's going to happen, like there's like someone is going to be doing a lot of acting.
Yeah, and there's and Pepper's ghosting and lots of special effects.
But yes, Riker mentions...
We received an emergency transmission from the science station on Vantax 2, sir.
There is problems with communication because the Agricultural Society is storming the gates of the research station and breaking down the transmission.
Because...
these people are all convinced that their world is coming to an end tomorrow.
And the signal cuts out. Oh no! Oh no!
The world is coming to an end.
Dun dun dun!
So, once in orbit around Ventax 3 after the credits, we used the credits to quickly warp to Ventax 3.
Yep, we got there.
Ventax 2.
And this is just SETI Alpha 5, SETI Alpha 6. What's the difference, Khan?
Transmission's picked up again, and the station is being invaded. The gates have been breached, and the peasants are revolting.
Yeah!
They only managed to grab the research scientist, and fortunately, the rest of the staff is taken hostage, so it's nice and cheap on the extras.
We get a close-up of Livingston, the fish, in Picard's.
Okay. What is it? Is it a lionfish? No.
I don't...
It kind of looks similar, but I think it's too small for a lionfish, but...
Oh my God, I just had a flashback to the Naked Gun film, where I think Frank Drebin asks that question of Ricardo Montalban, who played Khan, whom I quoted just yesterday,
yes,
and then does something with a pen later on where he accidentally skewers that fish.
Oh, I remember that scene, yes.
And drops the dead fish back in, or he eats it or something. I don't remember.
I don't recommend eating a lionfish. That would probably be very bad for you.
Yeah.
They're kind of poisonous.
Yeah.
Sorry, venomous.
We don't know. It could be both, Pufferfish are poisonous.
Right, but lionfish are venomous. I mean, it could be both. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, by the time you have yourself a good chew, generally, animals that really want you to notice them are not good eating. That's it's not a hard and fast rule, but start there.
There's a hilarious old comic called Thrud the Barbarian, which is kind of like, think, whatchamacallit, Conan the Barbarian, but with a really stupid protagonist.
Wait, sorry. Now I'm going to have to...
But basically, one point he's like rescuing a maiden who is being held captive and guarded by a big snake, and he jumps into the snake pit, and like the maiden calls out, "Careful, the snake is venomous. Oh, sorry, it's poisonous." And you can see him next frame. You can see him spitting out a mouthful of snake, and I thought it tasted funny.
Excellent word use, Thrud the Barbarian. Look at you.
But yes, so there is a problem here on the planet because
in the distant past, the Ventaxian culture had achieved an extremely advanced scientific level, but a millennium ago they turned their backs on technology.
They reverted to a simpler existence.
Hey, Your Honor, do we know that these two events were related?
Well, the implication is clearly there. I mean, that's what Ardra is trying to get everybody on the planet to believe.
So they had oh yeah, okay, that's kind of what
specifically
we're...
the scrolls.
So it was scientifically advanced to begin with,
yes.
And then they reverted to a more agrarian society, and that was part of the reforms which Ardra is taking credit for.
Right, yes.
Okay, yeah. All right. Which is an interesting anthropological question, which is why there was a Federation research team headed by Howard Clark, he's just really good at monologuing. We have two bold geezers here.
Oh, yes.
Who are very good at monologuing. And he's particularly critical of the Acost Gerard, I think he's
right, yes.
the sort of planetary leader, and he even puts words in his mouth. He says that this person said,
"Ardra is coming back.
Right.
Ardra will be here soon."
Ooh.
This religious leader, or the leader of the planetary prime minister, or what may be
something, whatever that
something like
is.
that. But yes, apparently he's gone. He got a case of the religions, and has been going on about trying to get Ardra to. He believes it. He's a true believer, I'd say, or something.
Yes.
You think like maybe he was in cahoots with Ardra, but there's nothing to indicate that. So I guess he's just a true believer.
Or at least a leader who is sympathetic to this panic that has swept the planet, because he's he does claim to be largely powerless against these mobs arising in this mass panic.
That literally happens here. So it starts by
Darred, you must secure the release of my people. I can't believe you would allow this.
And he replies,
"But events are out of my control."
And later on, he's like, when Ardra tells him to release them, he goes like, "Yes, ma'am." And suddenly he has the power.
Oh, wait. Yes. Because he thinks legally he's no longer in charge of this planet. Ardra is, and he hasn't received orders.
Oh, well, Ardra hadn't returned at that point yet. She's still coming,
Yeah, but this is the date. We're just minutes away. I mean, yes, it's a huge contrivance that this date just happens to fall during. Oh no, it's not a routine sort of visit.
No. They've been specifically called to the planet. So
that holds together pretty well.
So that part holds together. But I'm just saying either he's at this point he's just not willing to step in, or later on he's not willing to say no. But clearly these two statements are at odds with each other.
Well, unless he's already capitulated to Ardra, whom he believes is as of today.
Well, he has seen the vision.
Yeah. Which Picard says,
Visions? You mean dreams?
No, she has appeared. I myself have seen her.
Oh, and by the way, you have seen this Acost Gerard before.
Oh?
Because some 30-some years later, he would show up as a patient in the clinic in the Picard episode that we watched recently, right? That gets rated by ICE.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Alvarez.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. He's an Argentinian-born actor.
Right. Brought back into the Star Trek fold.
Marcello. Oh, Chief, what's his name?
That would be Marcelo Tubert.
Thank you. He had a sort of Raul Julia vibe to me with the...
I don't recognize that name.
Oh, Gomez Adams from the films, and M. Bison from Good Gravy for the Street Fighter film.
Never seen it.
Oh, on the one hand, what a blessed life you must lead, but on the other hand, also, it's such a beautiful train wreck.
Okay.
There's, God, you've got Jean-Claude Van Damme doing his very best acting, glistening through whatever tropical diseases he gained in Thailand while doing lots of coke, having lots of sex with Kylie Minogue.
Okay.
And Kylie Minogue doing and Ming-Na Wen is in it. She's amazing in spite of it all.
Never saw the movie.
You're fine. You're fine.
Good. I think there's other things on my watch list which will get higher priority.
Yeah.
So the crew of the Enterprise discuss the situation. It's like the situation is deteriorating, and they're going to find out what's going on. Basically, this is where the backstory for Ardra gets explained.
It seems Ardra came to Ventax too and promised 1,000 years of peace and prosperity for a price.
And the price is that the entire population would be enslaved.
We have I think this is the only line that Deanna really gets here.
As Deanna.
Yeah.
The people are reaching levels of anxiety that could lead to suicide.
Now, I think it's also important for especially our younger listeners to place this in the context of this is season 4, so about 93, thereabouts.
Yeah.
That was still the heyday of the Satanic Panic, which the chief wrote into the script.
Right, yes.
These moral panics sweeping the religious right and the conservative sectors of American culture.
D&D is the devil's game. We're a devil-worshipping game.
Yeah, and there are secret codes in VHS tapes, and don't let your children read these books. Because there's
Freddy's the devil.
Satanists and suicide cults, and they're all predating on our things that absolutely didn't exist, obviously.
Clearly. And we're getting a resurgence of that right now, except this time it seems to be more focused on sexuality.
God, Kay, while we were watching this episode, I saw so many parallels to the news cycle of this week.
Oh, yeah.
But this episode doesn't go out for another 6 to 8 weeks. And who the f*** knows what has happened? In the meantime, will there still be electricity? I don't know.
Well, the internet will still be active, yes. Maybe we will have split off into the various fractions. So, so Eurasia has always been at war with...
with wherever. It's terrifying. It's terrifying to think of. And yes, as people who have lived through a few of these cycles, it's terrifying, especially to see them coming back again. But so, the specific nature of this satanic panic was it wasn't even othering of other groups that existed, right? The typical groups, no. Jews, foreigners, anyone who's brown, right? That's that kind of menu that they usually grab from.
This is just general panic, I guess.
Of completely imaginary cabals that could be living among us. It could be your neighbors. They could be Satanists.
I mean, those are the perfect targets, to get angry at, because they can't do anything back because they don't exist.
Yeah.
So they're perfect for whipping your supporters up into a frenzy over.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, when you sort of look at the claims that were made of what Satanists do to manipulate your children into becoming trans or taking drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
They promise you quick solutions to your problems. They listen to a bunch of rock and roll. They give you a bunch of drugs. This actually sounds pretty dope.
I mean, this whole that whole thing is if someone offers you free drugs, then say no. It's no, drugs are expensive.
Very expensive.
We don't go giving them around to kids for Halloween. It's nobody's going to give. Nobody's going to give THC gummies to your kids. They're really expensive.
Yeah, and it's not as funny as anyone who hasn't taken THC gummies thinks.
Yes.
So, no, thank you. Those are mine. Daddy needs those to get some rest on the tough days.
Picard decides to take matters into his own hand and...
No, I'm going down to the planet myself.
Yeah, right away, Picard he's dug his little heels in.
Yeah.
Because this is a con woman.
Worf does a little bit of protesting, but Picard will have none of it. And
you know what? Actually, let me put the sound effect. I'm so sorry. I don't use it. There we go. I don't use it often enough. Because Worf gets told no a lot.
Yeah.
Right? This is a pattern that has emerged. You look at these conference room scenes, a lot of times Worf will have an idea and Picard says no.
Yeah.
But in this case, what I choose to believe, because he says...
Sir, you'd run the risk of being taken as an additional hostage.
And then Picard says...
Mr. Worf, you and Mr. Data will accompany me.
Right. And that sounds like a good escort.
Yeah, but you know what? You're right. So... I want to take it like Picard is adjusting his plans,
right? Yeah,
and taking his.
I mean, you can't really get two better guards than Data and Wolf,
Yes.
If between the two of them they can't handle the situation, there's bringing another security detail wouldn't have helped much at that point. So
no, unless you had an entire Marine squadron,
right? Yes.
They beam down to this planet, which is, okay, we're watching the remastered version. I don't know what the original looked like, but you've got this painting of...
I was going to say, it looks like a map painting to me with some overlay of people running around along avenues and bridges.
And now the people are running in a panic, and there's flames in the background, showing that this planet is...
There are some ziggurats or like Aztec temple-like buildings.
Oh, yeah.
And they arrive in the only one, the only other scene other than the... Oh, no, there's the research station, which is just like probably the research station set, which they dress up slightly different for every different research station they go to.
Quite possible. And actually, I think there's one more. There's this room, which is like the official room.
Yeah.
And there's also the Athenium, the sort of scroll chamber.
Oh, yes, you're right. Yes, you're right.
But you're right. It's a limited number of sets that they make a lot of use of.
Oh, yes. So the Prime Minister is like, we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas. Essentially, there's like, but the tremors, we could do that with a tractor beam. And it's Picard and I guess the rest of the entire crew of the Enterprise are of the meaning there is a mystery here and it needs to be solved. And it's definitely not the devil.
Yeah, but the devil says, yes, there is. And that is...
Time's up.
Yes! This Joan College-looking woman, she's got her hair done up in a fantastic mid-90s perm.
Zaps in with a obvious transporter beam effect.
Oh, I love her so much. She's standing like between these big banners, and she just walks in like she owns the place.
Which is, what she prefers to do anyway, so yeah.
And she is a delight.
Do not punish my people.
Sorry.
She is a delight to watch. I don't know. I think he made a mistake. Like, she's got such a dominatrix energy. Please punish my people. They are lining up outside for a session. Thank you, miss.
Well, but she's like, she's all reason. Like, I'm just here to just you uphold your part of the contract and everything will be golden. Oh, and here, fill in this tax form, please.
Yeah, and while you're at it.
And don't talk like some ancient prophet around me with these and thous and most powerful ones.
Picard jumps in and goes like, oi, stop it.
And she immediately, she rounds on him.
Who would you be?
I'm Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Federation Starship Enterprise.
And she says,
keep up the good work.
And walks off.
Yeah.
Done with you. You're cute.
Yeah, she's playing her part really well.
And Picard is left completely speechless.
So there's a little bit of a discussion. The crew is questioning her.
So you do purport to be the mythic figure, Ardra.
I was like, I have so many names. I'm just a devil, essentially. Like,
let's go through the list that she's got.
I am Mendora in the Barusian cluster. Torak to the Drellians. The Klingons call me Feklar.
And Worf says, no.
No, you are not Feklar. But then she does another little transformation thing. And yes, apparently Feklar is...
I am the guardian of Great Thor, where the dishonored go when they die.
And you see Worf is actually
at
terrified.
At this point he is, yes.
And this is, like, at this point in the series, he's suffered discommendation by the Klingon High Council for various Duras shenanigans.
And he's like, am I still dishonored? Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, this is where I'm going.
Because he's a hardcore sort of fundamentalist.
Oh, yeah, totally. But yes, Picard goes like, I'd like to see that contract, and this is where we head into the Athenium.
Really, Jean-Luc Picard of the Federation Starship Enterprise, no doubt you have traveled the galaxy, encountered a diverse universe of creatures. Is there no room for the likes of me?
Well, I mean, at this point, you might think that it's a Q-like creature.
Yes, exactly. We've seen those.
Which the crew actually offers as an opportunity later, but Picard goes like, no, this is so totally not Q style. He
wouldn't do contracts or economic forecasts. This is the first episode in The Next Generation, and I think the only one where Q is mentioned but doesn't appear.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, but yes, Data gets set to, like, read the contracts and get on with it, and...
Yeah. They go and see the
scrolls of Ardra, Captain.
And... yeah, Picard gives Data a bunch of homework. Now, read all these scrolls. And by the way, also all legal precedent from all court cases on Ventax 2 for the last 1,000 years.
Yes.
And I'll see you in the morning.
That comes later, but yes. First of all, the scrolls. And Ardra goes like, bye. I'll see you later. And
I love how she says it.
Let us not cloud this with bit players, Picard.
Yes, and she's definitely got the hots for Jean-Luc, so...
Oh, yeah. Oh, does she? Or does she recognize, this person could be trouble? I'm going to distract him with titties.
Possible, yes.
I'm going to keep you off your game. I'm going to, look at these titties so you can't see that I'm rubbing you blind.
I mean, it is like one of the tricks of a con game thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Con men tend to wear their shirts like I do, with 2 buttons open.
Oh,
just,
okay.
give a little extra, let the twins breathe.
Could she be another refugee from the Q continuum?
Oh, yeah, because like Q, this has been after the episode where Q comes like kind of crawling towards the Enterprise for help, isn't it?
So this episode was originally written for Star Trek Phase 2. Which, have you heard of Star Trek Phase 2?
I have not heard of it. Why don't you tell me about Star Trek Phase 2?
Well, it wasn't made, but it was a proposed revival of Star Trek for the Paramount network in the 1970s, when Paramount had the idea to make their own television network.
Yeah.
And work had started on a new Star Trek series, and sets had been built. And eventually that wound up being abandoned, and instead of TV series, it became a film, Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Right.
But so there were also already several scripts. And... this was one that was earmarked for possible reuse, the way that like The Naked Time and The Naked Now were based on the same scripts. Because toward the end of season 1 of The Next Generation, they were looking down the barrel of what turned out to be quite a lengthy writer's strike.
Oh, yes.
And so it would be profitable to them to have scripts ready to go.
Right.
And this was earmarked as one of them. So it was sort of slotted into, let's give that one some attention.
Yeah.
It wound up not being a success, the redoing previous scripts. As per The Naked Now and Naked Time.
No.
But then it sort of stayed in consideration, got polished up every now and again, and finally made its way into season 4. So then, like, originally it was, the bad guy was like the disembodied spirit of a planet called Koromether or something.
Okay.
And one of the writers introduced some sort of the con person plot. First a man, later a woman.
So more of a mud type scenario, which is, that's much more like this, actually. She could have brought him in, but I don't think this would have had the same panache if it had mud in it, and rather than
I mean, he also would have been dead by now, probably.
Oh,
like mud is a Kirk era.
Yeah, you're right. Yes,
but that plays into what one of the reviewers said, that it feels like an original series episode, like
yes.
Picard is channeling Kirk.
Yeah, very much so. So the crew talks a little bit about basically everything we've seen we can do as well. There's nothing magical here.
Capable of recreating all of these events, just that she dresses them up and she delivers them with more dramatic flair.
But we can't find it, because there has to be,
she must be tapping into some sort of power source to produce those effects.
And we need to find it. So, science guys, go look for that.
Yeah, and that's a plot that happens entirely off-screen, which was a point of criticism that some of the reviewers have mentioned, because it doesn't matter. And I am, none of these plots ever matter in Star Trek. When they do, doing the scientific clue and scanning for this and that, when you see it on screen, it's just really, it's wasted time. And we enjoy it as nerds, which is why it's on the screen. But it's not necessary for the plot at all. So skipping it is totally valid. If that makes room for something else, it's also entertaining.
Like the next scene, which is this is what I mean with a Q-esque type scene.
Yeah.
Because Ardra is sitting in Picard's chair.
When they come walking out of the observation lounge, she's already there. And she's got her legs kicked up. She's sitting bisexually.
Yes, very much so.
Your chair offers a lovely view of my planet, Picard. Come, sit with me.
And he is livid.
Yeah, and he threatens her.
Either leave my bridge, or I will remove you by force.
But by all means, try.
And then he goes like, well, Mr. Worf. She's disappointed, like, oh, you're not going to do it yourself. It's
because Worf gets zapped back.
Yep.
And then Picard says, with his further sort of hands-off approach.
Transport to room 3. Lock onto the intruder and transport her to the planet's surface.
And gives, once she's gone, an order to the ensign.
Ensign, put up the shields until further notice.
But she's already in the chair.
Which is really well done.
Which is really a Q move.
Yes, sir, Captain. Whatever you say.
And she tries to, basically reinforce her position as her power. She's like, trying to, play it straight. I guess, trying to get them to give in. I'm not sure.
Interesting. Yeah, what is she doing here on the bridge? Maybe more distraction, maybe, or, yeah, like you're saying, maybe trying to convince them, even though, as a con woman, she probably knows that the Federation can't be convinced.
Right.
Quite like that.
Data appears, and, well, have you found the contract? And he goes like, yep.
The language of the agreement is correct in every detail, sir.
So it is absolutely correct. At which point, she goes, I own everything on the planet.
Anything on the surface, in the air, or in orbit.
And I think that she overplayed her hand.
Yes, because there's no way that she can enforce that.
No, exactly. And if she hadn't done that, then the people of Ventax might have argued, like, sorry guys, you're the Federation, you have no opinion, go away. We are honoring the contract with this person, and we are now...
It's a completely internal matter.
You're served, here's your hostages back.
Right, yes.
It's a planetary internal matter, and bye.
Yeah.
Whereas by overplaying her hand here and trying to lay claim to the Enterprise, which, as you said, the Federation never going to order going along with that.
But maybe it's, I mean, one of the tricks of a con person, as we see with American politics and various autocrats, is to demand way more that you want.
Right.
So really just yank the Overton window in one direction to make, any other demand that you make that's less than that ridiculous thing. Because she comes on here and she's immediately sort of attracted to Data, right? Who's
also
read the entire legal history. And she goes, oh.
Such speed and accuracy. You're much too talented to be human.
Yeah.
She plays her part very well here. Yeah, it's like, oh, this is an interesting thing. I didn't know this wasn't here 1,000 years ago.
So maybe that's the opportunity that she sees. There's an android here. I would like that android. Maybe that's her play.
Which she's also not going to get, which they will also never agree to,
They might?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they wouldn't. I mean, like everything, like whenever somebody tries to lay claim to Data, the Star Trek has a long-standing reputation of everybody standing up for him and refusing to let him be taken.
I had that opinion as well, and that opinion has been challenged by some perspectives recently. We think a lot about, I think the episode is called Measure of a Man, right? Where he's put on trial and his personhood is questioned.
Yes.
And for some reason, Riker is placed in the prosecution, which is ridiculous. And Picard is in the defense, and they're agreeing to this trial about Data's personhood, which they wound up winning.
Yeah.
Would they have accepted it if they lost?
I mean, in one case, even agreeing to the terms of the trial already denies him
it's
that.
It's a capitulation, yes, exactly.
It already denies that personhood, yes.
And I've loved this episode for many years, and that perspective came up, why did we not have a scene where afterward Picard tells Worf, stand down the commando team, we will not need to storm the space station and retrieve Data after all.
Yes.
Because that doesn't come up.
No, very good point, yeah.
So, maybe that is something that the Federation can be manipulated into. And, of course, con people, they tend to overplay their hand.
So, Data comes to check in on Picard to see if there's, he's done the rest of his homework, basically. And Picard is still very convinced that she's a con person, yes.
Yep. And Picard is, despite the fact that he asked Data to come here, he doesn't really pay much attention to Data. He's really intrigued by his little station there.
And they go through the whole thing. Well, they did get 1,000 years of peace. But again, there's no proof that Ardra did this. That's the whole thing. It's like she might have just come across this prophecy or these documents and go what do you know? 1,000 years is up in 3 months. Let's see if I can what we can cobble up together and get ourselves a little bit of God faking technology thrown together.
Yep, I've got one of the one of Quark's cast-off holosuite emitters,
something like that. Yeah.
And Picard does a lot of speculating about the other possible explanations for this renaissance and this rejuvenation that the planet experienced 1,000 years ago, and he relates that to the story that we started with at the beginning. Where a person's character is changed by these ghostly visions.
Well, he puts it like this.
Maybe a Ventaxian leader saw the destruction of his society at hand, and he conceived this contract of Ardra to motivate change. Maybe there was an Ardra of some sort who was the basis for this mythology. Who knows?
We don't know what happened, and this could have well just be someone who went who wrote himself a gospel and decided to try to use that and advance that to the people. Because, later on, it turns out they did it all themselves.
And all of them are equally as speculative as believing this fiction.
Right. So we need to find a way to challenge the validity.
Challenging the validity of this contract.
So, check, and this is where he tells him to go do more homework.
Check it again, Mr. Data, and check every Ventaxian legal precedent for the last 1,000 years.
Wow.
And he says...
We'll talk again in the morning.
Yeah, so you expect me to have that done over... okay,
He doesn't sleep anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, but I plans to give Spot his bath.
Oh,
which
sure.
is quite a drama.
Oh, guess so, yeah. Picard is sleeping peacefully in his bouquet pillow.
Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
I said,
bouquet pillow?
Yes.
Or bouquet pillow?
Oh, no, I said bouquet pillow.
Okay, I thought you were mispronouncing a very different type of pillow.
No. He doesn't seem the type.
And he's visited by the ghost of Christmas boobies. And she's glowing blue and she's got her hair blown out. She sort of looks like...
She's wearing a very see-through dress.
Oh, yeah.
She's got a fine figure.
Oh, yeah. Marta Dubois is a wonderful woman. Oh, she's sort of like when Sigourney Weaver was possessed and sexy in Ghostbusters.
Yes. I see where you're coming from.
I mean, she's a sexy woman to begin with as well, but she dressed down for the part.
Nobody's that gay,
Yeah, I was going to say, look, you can't say, when Sigourney Weaver was sexy in Ghostbusters, because Sigourney Weaver, she was always sexy. Come on.
And Picard immediately, he wants to protect his maidenhood.
Picard, the bridge.
Oh, I've arranged for a bit of privacy.
Ooh. And she follows him around the room as he vainly sort of walks around.
Yes, he denies her 3 times, essentially.
He tries the door, just pushing buttons. He is incredibly reluctant to touch things.
Oh.
Do you notice that?
Yes, I suppose. I mean, he maybe doesn't know where he is. As far as he knows, he's back in another Q flimflammery.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it's simple. It's much simpler.
I could give you a night that would light fire in your dreams until you die, and you would reject me.
Oh, yes.
And teleports him to the planet.
Can we go through the denials, though? Because she starts off as the queen of boobies.
Right, yes.
And then when he rejects her, when he says that there's nothing about her that he finds tantalizing.
No.
On the contrary, I find you obvious and vulgar.
And she transforms her outfit then.
Oh, yeah. She goes for the school mom look.
Right, very Victorian, sort of like what we see his dream wife is wearing in the fantasy in Generations, right, when he's in the Nexus. And she assures him,
I can be your ideal woman, Picard. Prim and proper and chaste until I succumb to your charms.
That I think I sprained an eyeball eye rolling at that line.
But isn't it good, though? Isn't this like a fantastic approach to sort of...
Well, she clearly doesn't know Picard, and she's just like trying on a few things,
Yes, with incredible confidence and insight. Because after, he calls her obvious, she must have had 20 or 30 costumes ready to go.
Really?
And enough experience in manipulating people to go, okay, well, you've just given me quite a clue.
Information, because next one...
Or would your fantasies turn more toward a professional woman?
And if she'd finished there, I would have had quite a different imagination.
But and this is clearly, again, clear evidence that she doesn't know Picard, because she chooses Diana.
Yes.
What would it have happened if she'd chosen Beverly?
Right. Right, if Beverly had beamed down, because Ardra just doesn't know about Beverly.
Yeah, exactly.
She hasn't been in a room with her.
No.
She has been with
Diana,
who is also, in her way, the queen of boobies with the deep V that she has to wear. But I think that's a really interesting thought. If Beverly had beamed down, she would have picked up on the tension.
Yes.
Right? As a con person, you're used to reading people's tics.
Sure. But yes, again, he denies her and knows through that, and she beams him towards the research station, much to the surprise of the professor and LaForge.
Yeah.
Captain, I wasn't expecting you here.
Neither was I.
Go ahead. Worf is very surprised that the captain is on the planet.
And that the transporter is malfunctioning.
And that they still haven't raised the shields.
Oh, yes. Well, because he gave that order to someone who wasn't there, because he'd been replaced by Ardra, and apparently didn't think to restate the order.
Nor did anybody else on the bridge.
Okay, so...
Just have Mr. Data fetch me in a shuttle,
and have him bring along a uniform.
Did you say uniform?
Yeah, I mean, Data's always in uniform.
Unless Tasha Yar's around.
That one time, yeah.
Oh, the one that got away.
But yes, cue a scene where they are flying back. There's a little bit of more speculation, but also...
Sir, I believe I have found an obscure precedent in Ventaxian law which may be of interest.
Which he discusses with Picard while they're in this tiny little set.
Yeah.
This tiny little shuttle cockpit.
Yeah, with nice carpeting on the walls.
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of the mini shuttles, you know, the really super small ones.
Yep, it's a really snub-nosed little bee.
But he's found something.
Because the dispute involved an alien culture, the parties decided that arbitration, rather than the courts, should resolve the issue.
Oh, yes. Because he's talking about an issue with a Klingon craftsperson.
Yes.
Because first contact was made with this culture
by the Klingons.
70 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is reflected, hey, Robert Blackman, you deserve that nomination, in the costumes of some of the background characters.
Oh.
Like the guards standing behind Akos Jared.
Yeah.
Their outfits are sort of similar to Klingon uniforms in the Kirk era.
Ah, clever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it was really well done. But the Enterprise disappears.
Yes, it just goes and it's gone. Enterprise is gone.
Yeah, what do we do now? I guess,
what's going to do now?
We don't have the Enterprise anymore.
Have a quick discussion because, this point is going to come up sooner or later.
All right.
So, if you have technology which you can cloak the Enterprise with, stop the Enterprise from communicating or shooting its way out of there, why do you bother with trying to con a planet? You know, you can sell this to anybody. You know, this technology is clearly powerful enough to stop the Enterprise from doing anything useful in the next hour or two, or as long as it takes this whole matter to basically be resolved by Geordi finding the source of the thing.
Well, okay, that's assuming it's technology. So, you asked this question, so I'm going to give it an answer, right? How do magicians work? How do con people work? And it's usually by distracting you from the very mundane but complicated solution that they use, which is very risky.
Yeah.
And therefore, like, in your mind, it becomes much more reasonable to select a simpler, even though it's magical, explanation for the problem.
Sure.
So, what happened to the ensign that Ardra replaced while he was, zapped away? Was he maybe bribed?
Okay.
Right? I mean, just offer him a ton of money. If you put this USB stick in the slot at exactly 1500 hours, and it'll be fine. And then it turns out to be, a backdoor Trojan virus or whatever that cloaks. Like, maybe it isn't that complicated at all. It was just kind of a harebrained scheme that happened to work out. It might have failed. A lot of schemes fail.
Right, but that's entirely speculative and in no way based upon anything that we see in these episodes.
Nor is yours. You're imagining. You're seeing that, both of us saw the Enterprise disappear.
Right.
Right? And you, like the Ventaxians, imagine that Ardra must have this, ship-stealing power.
That is literally what it said. They literally say that they extended the cloaking device of Ardra's ship around the Enterprise.
Oh, okay.
It's literally what's said in the episode. That's what happened.
That
yeah. And they managed to stop the Enterprise from doing anything during that period of time.
They still might have bribed Ensign Jerry.
Possible.
And in which case, if it was something like that, then you wouldn't be able to, that's not something you can sell. It's something you can try and maybe succeed in.
Sure.
Because he apparently had a...
the cloaking technology and the ability to, the not being able to contact, we don't know, but...
Right.
Well, actually, they were able to break through that. Once they figured out that there was it's literally said. Because Geordi says,
The Enterprise?
Exactly where it's supposed to be. Ardra extended her cloaking shields around it, set up a subspace damping field to interfere with normal operations. I've isolated the frequency spread and penetrated the field.
But also, the whole reason that the Picard had to be picked up by shuttle is because the transporters didn't work. So the transporter had been sabotaged.
Right, yes.
Already, which either externally through some magical technology or internally, because they bribed Ensign Jerry to stick a USB stick in. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't mean to be I'm having fun with exploring this, and maybe we're heading in advance of our Captain's Log Supplemental.
Sure, go for it.
There's a sudden jump in Z-particle readings just about the time the Enterprise disappeared.
Yeah. The Z-particles, whatever they are. Is that a thing, Kay?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's maybe there's X particles, Y particles, and Z particles, and together they map subspace? I don't know.
Chief, are there Z particles?
Yes. So in particle physics, there are W and Z bosons that are vector bosons that are known as the weak bosons or the intermediate vector bosons. So there's about weak interaction between particles. Okay, this is parts of physics don't quite make sense to me, but looking at Wikipedia, it does say that the Z boson mediates the transfer of momentum, spin, and energy when neutrinos scatter elastically from matter. So the part that like conserves the charge of it. So it's yes. I'm not a science guy. Why are you asking me these questions? No, I don't wanna.
So, Ardra shows up.
Yeah.
So I trust you have a bit more respect for me now.
Actually, I think because like they're talking about what's happening. So we did the Z particles, and they go like, okay, where did it originate?
Yep.
Gentlemen, we need to find that source if we're to defeat this woman.
And that's when Ardra shows up. So I think that like she's monitoring this, and you go like, oops, we need to.
We need to bugged him.
Yeah, we need to, or she got this research lab bugged or whatever, and she's like, oh no, we need to need to step in here, time to get involved and move this place along.
Yeah, you're right,
because we don't want to give them time to find our ship.
You're absolutely right. This is what we should be doing in order to understand this episode. Look at it from Ardra's perspective. How is she responding to all of this?
Exactly.
Yeah, most of this episode is about our heroes trying to interpret her motivations from her actions, but none of them are thinking about, like, she's doing it specifically in response to them.
Exactly, yeah. You're lulled into the idea that she may or may not be the real Ardra.
Who has her own divine plan.
Exactly. But no, it's a con man who is trying to like, oh shit, like things are going off the rails. What can we do to get it back on track?
Yeah, and that means overinvest, take risks like seizing an entire ship in order to convince a captain just to keep them distracted long enough to, I don't know, who knows what they're doing. Maybe they're trying to just buy a few extra hours to drill into the magnetite core of a mountain that they need or whatever.
Well, so what happens is...
I do not recognize your claim on the Enterprise.
And therefore, due to Ventraxian legal precedent, I call for arbitration.
Yes! To which Ardra does not easily agree.
No. And also, apparently, there's something weird about Ventraxian law that allows you to make contracts which sell out your descendants into slavery, and also any possessions of any other people who are just happen to be in the neighborhood at the time that contract comes due.
Yeah, that's the part that couldn't possibly be enforced. Then again, we also grew up in the privileged environment of the European Union where unfair and unenforceable contracts are not enforced. Doesn't matter if you signed an egregious employment contract. Judges will void them because, that's stupid. You could not ask that, so any agreement to it is null and void as soon as it's requested.
Absolutely.
Which is, unfortunately, not a legal system that is enjoyed by
everybody.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, man, imagining being in a place that actually valued workers and worker rights and having a legal system that really backed that up, that must be nice.
Magicians have been making things of all sorts disappear for ages.
Oh, you underestimate me.
Oh, she's so sexy. Yes. So cool. She's the exact right foil for Picard.
Yeah.
Because he just can't stand her and he can't look away.
And she goes like,
but if you are who you say you are, then you have nothing to lose.
I also have nothing to gain. I already have possession of this planet and your ship.
And she goads Picard almost into like, oh, well, that's what I want. That's what I want. Yeah.
And, your body is already mine.
Technically.
But I want more.
Yeah.
And looking at it from her perspective again, she has no fucking interest in him.
Probably not, no.
So this is another misdirection. We never find out what she actually wants with this planet, but this is
milk it for resources. I mean, that's what probably why that she hands him the tax receipt at the beginning, and so go fill this in. I'd like to know everything about how it's going. And focus on the economy.
Yeah,
what can I get from this planet?
So her demanding him as her part of this, she knows this arbitration is bullshit. It can't possibly work out in her favor.
No,
but it can keep Picard distracted. That's her job.
I wonder what her end game is in this.
Right?
How does she figure That's why I said, like, she overplayed once she started going for the Enterprise, because the best, in my opinion, she could have hoped for is to get them to f*** off and leave the planet alone, because convince the people of the planet to say, no, sorry, we belong to her now, bye, please leave.
Yeah. Is she even the leader of this operation?
Oh, that's.
I mean, she's the face, right?
Yeah.
I've been the face of many a tabletop role-playing game party.
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily mean that I set the strategy.
No, good point. We don't know. We just don't know.
No, but it's fascinating. I think this is why I think it's a really good episode. Like, it maybe hasn't been intended to be so.
So they need to agree on an arbitrator, and she nominates.
I choose Mr. Data.
Yeah. And he immediately asks, "Oh, can I talk to the captain real quick?"
Yeah, it's like,
Sir, I request you reject me as an arbitrator.
Because I can't guarantee that I will rule in your favor, which is like already an interesting take for Data. You know, it's like he knows that he will rule according to the law as he has read and understands it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is he anticipating on the fact that like Picard would ask him to give an illegal ruling or like an unjust ruling? Because he's like,
oh, what would you do if you were Picard?
In regards to?
In this situation, like, you don't believe that there is any legal standing. So you don't believe that, adjudication is valid.
No.
Right? So you don't have to respect the legal process.
No. This is all happening under duress, so it's not. There's nothing involved in it. But remember, Picard is trying to goad Ardra.
Right.
Geordi has said, like, oh, well.
Well, if you can get her to perform a few more magic tricks like that one, we just might be able to track it down.
Like, he's just trying to, like, prolong the proceedings.
Kay, you're right. This is a very well-written episode. I'm glad that you're opening my eyes to how brilliant this is, Kay.
So, yeah, there's quite a lengthy blah, 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 whereas Ardra goes like, well, let's see. 1,000 years ago, we agreed on this contract.
Oh, you're talking about the court scene?
Yes.
Started.
Yeah, sorry. To which Picard objects, like, hang on, we have not established yet that she is in fact this Ardra, which I think is a very good, valid argument, and which is shot down on a weak ground. Basically,
Jared, in the contract, does it specify how you would know me when I return?
Yes, by the date.
Anything else?
By the shaking of the cities and by the visions.
And all of these occurred on schedule?
Yes.
Your Honor, I submit that I have established my identity as stated by the contract.
Oh, no, you have established that the things that in the contract said would happen have happened. That does not necessarily establish her identity. That does not prove that she is the person who was.
Well, they're arguing the validity of the contract, and the contract identifies Ardra by these properties, which she has fulfilled. So while there may be other extenuating circumstances, or you could say that other people could have fulfilled those requirements, you can't say that the contract, therefore, does not recognize Ardra, or, this person as Ardra. The contract absolutely does recognize her as Ardra. It would have recognized anyone who showed up at the right date.
That's my point exactly.
Doing those
it would have,
but nobody else did.
Sure, yeah.
Right? If there were multiple people claiming to be Ardra,
right,
which might have been an interesting
I'm Ardra.
strategy.
No, I'm Ardra. Damn it. There goes my deleted scene.
your Life of Brian, a sick Life of Brian reference there, bro.
It's actually a much older reference, Spartacus, but yeah.
I know, that's what the Life of Brian was.
Yeah, I know, we're referring. Also, there's technically, this whole dispute, arbitration, is about the Enterprise, whereas the entire discussion is more about the entire contract on the planet.
You know what? I don't think that's even established what the sort of stakes are. Because, yeah, that's actually something that Picard could have said when Data was like,
If I am chosen, I will perform my duties without bias or sentiment. I cannot guarantee I will deliver a verdict in your favor.
The Picard could have said, no, the Enterprise cannot possibly be part of this contract.
Yeah.
As a Starfleet officer, you're under no obligation to. So I order you to give a ruling in the Enterprise's favor.
Good point.
After about 2.5 hours of bullshit.
Yes.
But here, like, since we were in a situation where he believes himself to be a fair adjudicator, or whatever the term was, arbitrator, and he made his, assessment.
Your objection is overruled.
And then Picard goes,
But Your Honor, sir, I have ruled.
Yeah.
Like, down, boy.
And that's totally valid.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
something
absolutely.
that Picard wasn't ready for. Like, oh, yeah, that does mean that I have to Oh, yeah.
Please sit down.
In the cuck chair.
Yeah. So basically, she establishes that, like, yes, the contract has been fulfilled. I gave you 1,000 years of peace and prosperity, and now I am here to which Picard argues,
my opponent has failed to prove her case, and I move that her claim be summarily dismissed.
Well, that is denied by Data again.
Yeah, because as she described, let me see.
Now, when I first set foot on Ventax 2, what did I offer your people?
Right, cleaning the pollution, and have all those things happen. Yes, they have all happened. And so Ardra, who has fulfilled the process of identification and has fulfilled the promises that she, in quotation marks, made 1,000 years ago,
yes,
those have also come true. So, no, when Picard says she has not proved her case, he's wrong.
Oh, no, absolutely.
He hasn't challenged her case. That's the problem.
Well, that comes later.
Yes.
He does manage to goad her by this into, giving him one more display of her powers.
Yes.
Making the ground shake, changing into what looks like a very cheesy devil. I mean, might as well be David Grohl in a devil suit.
Oh my God.
Although that was better.
Gargle mayonnaise.
that was better. That was a better devil suit than this one, I must say.
I know, but that wasn't made on an 8-day production schedule.
Very good point. Yes.
But I think you're right. Actually, I think you're right because he does say,
Your Honor, nothing in this testament proves that Ardra had the power to affect the lives of the Ventaxians.
Power.
Yeah.
That's him goading her
into showing off her ability.
Then.
Yeah.
Show off.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We get a quick little scene in the lab where they go like,
I'm correlating the particle trajectories. I have coordinates. 34 degrees north, 62 degrees east at an altitude of 210 kilometers.
That would put it in orbit above the western magnetic pole, running visual scan.
That's kind of cool.
I knew that you were going to find that.
I was just like, how does that work? I mean, it's whatever you call it, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, is a planet obligated to have its rotational pole on its magnetic pole?
No, not at all.
Right?
No. I mean, ours doesn't. No,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it's why not?
It's only a few degrees off, but,
Depends when.
Right, yes, of course, it wobbles.
Do you know I learned something? Okay, I'm sorry about this. I learned something really f***ing bonkers, which is that you can tell how old an iron-rich sort of layer of ground rock is by the polarity of the iron molecules there, because they will have polarized to the north-south axis that existed at the time that particular iron ore cooled.
They did a magnetic scan of the Atlantic Ocean bottom, because where the tectonic plates are pulling apart, constantly new layers, and by that they can tell, okay, we know that what the rate of movement of the plate is, and we don't know if that's constant, but but you can see that, the polarity of the magnetic ore just occasionally flips over.
Yes.
And you can use that as a method of determining how long it's been since how often this occurs, the magnetic pole flips, which seems to be with some regularity on a geological scale, at least.
And even if it doesn't flip, it still moves around a bit.
Yes.
But this knowledge existed before the concept of plate tectonics.
No.
Right? It was part of the evidence for plate tectonics and, the hypothesis of Pangaea or Pangaea, the largest supercontinent in history. Because if you make a map of known depths of stratums of pieces of rock of similar age.
Yeah.
Try and make a map of Europe and America and map all of those polarities. They completely line up when you sort of smush the the continents together.
Oh, yeah. So there you have your proof.
Suggesting that they were neighbors. Anyway, sorry. That's
Picard is dragging out time because he goes into basically trying to put question to Ardra's agency.
Yes.
Because he goes okay, so she cleaned up the pollution, she destroyed all the weapons, and...
the leaders did that. She advised the leaders.
Right, also no, she left at that point. So, so he argues they might have all done it by themselves.
Yes.
You say you did it, but by the way, as far as I can hear, they all did it by themselves.
Yes. Yes. See, he's undermining her assertion, because her assertion is, those things that I promised happened. Therefore, I fulfilled the contract. But the fact that they happened doesn't mean that you did them. You promised to do it.
Yeah. Picard...
Forgive me, but it sounds as if, with a lot of courage, hard work, your ancestors changed this world all by themselves.
To which she objects.
Yes, and Data sustains it.
Yep.
Sustained. I will draw my own conclusions if you do not mind. Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, adding it.
Ah.
But like many lawyers, like he makes that statement to have made it, even if it doesn't go into the record.
Yeah.
And even if the opponent scores an objection there, the statement has still been made.
Yes. She counters by just asking, like,
Is there any doubt in your mind? Any doubt at all that if I had not intervened, the terrible conditions here would have continued?
I mean, Picard should have objected again. It's like, sorry, his belief is not relevant here.
Oh, I think this is valid legal strategy because she even says...
I remind you that you're under oath.
And she says that to Jared, who was until yesterday the legal, cost or whatever of this planet. So his decision does have legal standing. And if he believes that the contract is valid, that has bearing on this case.
Right.
Because if he didn't, right?
Yeah, no.
So I think that's what she's establishing
Sustained.
Thank you. Because she says...
Then, as former head of state for the Ventaxian people, you are satisfied that I fulfilled my part of the bargain.
So she's undermining Picard's argument. Like, it doesn't matter that you cast it into doubt. The head of state is satisfied.
Yes, fair point. Yeah. Data is about to give a ruling, but Geordi walks in. It's like, excuse me.
Yes. Oh, the fantastic trope of last-minute evidence submission, which does not happen anywhere where legal systems actually function in any way.
But
1 hour recess is granted.
So we have some time.
And there's a bit of whispering between Picard and Geordi.
Yes.
And he even says, oh God.
This is what I want to do. We have less than an hour.
And they cut away. It's just like, oh, here's the plan, everyone.
Yes.
And you zoom away from the huddle. It's so, what am I thinking of? I think it's Scooby-Doo. I think it is a Scooby-Doo huddle.
It is a bit, yes. Arbitration reconvenes, and Picard actually starts with where Ardra's argument kind of left off.
And all your senses tell you that this woman here is the most powerful force on this planet, don't they?
And he starts to show off that he can actually do the same. Like, I'm going to steal her powers, and I'm going to, starts by quite a prolonged earthquake.
Yeah, the camera shakes, and she objects.
Objection, Your Honor.
But no, I think he deserves a little bit of leeway here. And he asks her, can you stop it like then? No, you can't. Oh, well, in that case, I will.
Yes. Picard keeps asking her to stop the things that he's started.
That he is doing, yes.
And she tries for a second.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then she even tries to deny it because...
I like the tremors.
That's
well, I don't.
Weak answer. It's like, oh, yes, well, why don't you stop it then? Well, actually, I kind of like it now.
Yeah. Which makes me think that maybe she's the face of this team.
Fair point. I mean, she's grasping at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows she's like screwed because her little eyelid control fluttery thing's clearly not working anymore.
Yeah, or her ship's been seized and her team's been compromised.
Well, she doesn't know that. Yeah, she has no idea what's going on. But yes, there's a little bit of more flammery, as Picard put it so nicely, as he changes himself into Feck. Yeah. Because they weren't quite done with it. I mean, they figured, like, if we have to go through that costume, we want at least 2 scenes out of it.
Yeah, what do you think of the costume and the sort of ruling?
It looks a bit. It looks a bit weird. I mean, it's kind of Klingonish, but with a bit of a fish mouth, I suppose.
Yeah,
piranha-esque. I don't know.
This is why Robert Blackman was only nominated for a costume. Oh no, he doesn't do creature effects. No,
I'm pretty sure it was for Ardra's outfit.
Oh my God, yeah. Right. I'm being snarky. That's unfair.
The Enterprise has taken control of this woman's ship.
Sorry.
Yes.
But yeah, that's fine. Like,
because he does the Poirot thing, but it's not the Poirot thing. It's more like the
Matlock thing, or the
Matlock Columbo.
The Columbo thing? Yeah, that's the one. Like,
Your Honor, I appreciate your indulgence,
and
allow
me to explain.
Yeah.
See, Mrs. Columbo and I were doing the old, Persian Nighthawk. We like to do that of an evening.
But yes, so he goes on quite a lengthy expose of how she did it.
None of which we got to see.
Well, no, true. Well, she's like...
You had no right.
Deceiving innocent people with a petty schemes for years.
So yeah, the last straw to grab through is outrage. It's like, oh, you're not allowed to do that.
Yep.
But after she is backed into the corner...
Your Honor, under the circumstances, I believe it is only fair that I release the Ventaxians from their obligation.
Again, trying to maintain it to the last, like trying to...
Hey, deny it till you die,
yeah,
right?
grasp to the illusion that she is in control, that she is the one calling the shots here.
Yeah.
But alas, as she tries to magnanimously walk off, there are two security guards. I guess these are the ones that you were referring to with the outfits.
Oh, let me see.
The silver cut outfits that.
Yes, those as well. There were also brown outfits standing on either side of Akos the first time they showed up on the screen.
Oh,
but these are also sort of inspired by some uniforms we've seen Klingons wearing in the Kirk era.
Data puts an end to the proceedings.
With the advocate's withdrawal, the contract is hereby dissolved.
And what's his name? Jared? No.
Yes.
Jared tries to thank the captain. But no, it's...
As I've tried to tell you, you saved your own lives a long time ago.
And this head of state returns to his job that he has so fundamentally failed at.
Yes, well, as we've seen in recent events, failing to be a good head of state does not...
Wow, that is an unexpected but entirely appropriate sound effect.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Till we meet again, Jean-Luc Picard of the Starship Enterprise.
Which they never did. Oh, it's such a shame. Wouldn't you have wanted her to come back?
Oh, do a mod, basically.
Yeah, I mean, or a Q, for that matter. Just come back every now and again.
She would have been a good one, but I mean,
right?
I like Mud. Saw the actor in another thing the other night, which we were watching. Oh, I can't remember what it was now.
You're probably meaning the modern Mud, right?
Yes,
Rainn Wilson from
yes.
Discovery, yeah. Yeah, you would have seen him in the American version of The Office and various other things. He's a fantastic comedian.
So,
but yeah, that's the episode.
That is the episode. Yes. Well,
which is unfortunate. Much like Dr. Bashir, secret agent,
yes,
does not return, leaving a huge gap of potential in the Star Trek franchise.
All right, so let me go back to where we started at the beginning of the episode, where Jamal's rather ruinous review, I believe he gave it 1 star, but one of his people who read his blog countered that. It was a man only identified by the screen name as Elliot.
Yeah.
I agree. Who cares about the tech, the aliens or whomever? But that's never the point of a Trek episode. Trek is commentary on the human condition, and it is about how characters develop in a universe freed from what Gene Roddenberry saw as extricable negative qualities in that condition, i.e. religion and money.
Right.
The allegory is a perfect use of science fiction, and your impression of the Ventaxians tells me that you haven't met enough Mormons because their reactions are very realistic. 1 star? No way.
Yikes. Okay, well, this may be a very specific snipe at a people group that I don't fully support, but I understand the principle this is Elliot is coming from.
Well, it's more about, yes, that it's like this is not about the technology or the flim-flammery, but about, how people respond to a certain situation, certain pressure as it is put on them by...
Yeah, like the idea that our heroes were should be unconvinced by this flim-flammery.
Right.
Okay, that's very different than the idea that a people, a population...
but in their entire regard should not be,
can be expected to reject it because that's not what we see in history, unfortunately.
No, absolutely right. So I tend to agree with it, with that comment.
I'm really glad that you saved that for the end because it's really valid. Like it places Ardra's or whatever her actual name is,
yes,
and her team's motivations, like they're very valid. They must have done this before.
Oh yeah, I mean she was known as by 23 other names. What I believe is something that was said.
I mean that's stuff that she says.
No.
Crew have admitted that she is known by 23 aliases in this sector alone.
So she's probably like high up. I mean she might not be the true head of the organization, but she clearly is. It's her show.
Oh my god. We don't even know that for sure because her team are also con people and they may just be throwing her under the bus.
Wow. Oh yeah, no, it's all on her.
She has 23 names. Yeah, go check them out. We'll be over here. We'll just be beaming off on you.
Yeah, we're just like, no, we're just
bystanders. Bye.
Oh, interesting. I mean, that's just like, I wonder what the rules are. I mean, this is clearly not a Federation planet. So what are they going to do? Are they just going to hand these people over to the Ventaxians, or are they going to take them with and charge them with,
I think
general mayhem and
I mean, this is never done in like this era of Star Trek, but I think maybe yes, because they did cause the tremors and the visions that caused the religious fervor or the apocalyptic fervor.
Point. And if anybody died or got harmed clearly there was property damage because things burned down.
Property damage.
So yes,
also a Federation team was taken hostage.
Sure.
And violence committed on them.
That puts the Federation
exactly.
At least gives the Federation a good claim to jurisdiction.
Yeah. I learned something recently. Megiddo is the site of the first battle in recorded history. The first recorded battle in history was in Megiddo in 1700 BC.
Okay. Somewhere in the Euphrates and Tigris area, I assume.
Right?
Yeah.
It left such a scar on the people who experienced it that the belief emerged that this would also be the site of the last battle that would ever occur.
Right.
Hence, Armageddon, Megiddo.
Oh.
Armageddon is literally named after the last battle will also take place in this terrible battle.
Oh, wow. That's very cool. Yeah. I had no idea. I had no idea. So, what did you think was...
So fucking cool.
Okay, do you want to say it at the same time? 3, 2, 1,
Ardra,
right?
Yes.
Like her outfit, her scheming, her confidence, Marta Dubois did a fantastic job.
Absolutely, yeah. It can go nowhere else than that.
Why did we get to see her again?
Oh, yeah.
As a love interest. Maybe she and Vash. Remember the sort of freelance archaeologist that Picard sort of falls in love with at one point?
Right.
Maybe that's her.
Who's also, that just she just got a nose job and...
Yeah, it's easy. You do that all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
You set Dr. Bashir's gender reassignment shotgun to a lower setting. And says, Bajoran now.
Random, yeah.
Yeah, just roll the dice.
When you're doing character creation and you just...
roll the dice over and over again. Yeah, she was so cool. And especially looking at it from her perspective, like we've been doing, trying to figure out her motivations for each of these tactics that she's tried. Trying the sexual approach and just taking a gamble. Maybe he's got the hots for Troy.
Yeah.
No, that one didn't work. We'll just try the next one.
Picked the wrong bridge crew member. Well, actually, Beverly's not bridge crew, but yeah. All right. So, in that case, we are left with what is the scene that was left on the cutting room floor.
Captain's log, supplemental.
I've had so many speculations already.
All right.
Okay, let me see. I'm going to construct this while I'm saying it, and that is, I like to imagine that this has been their plan all along.
Okay.
So what does this mean? Who actually succeeded? Maybe their only goal was to just... Yeah, maybe, Jared was in cahoots.
Yes.
And their whole goal was to keep everyone distracted while Ventax 3, the planet which you named, was quietly dismantled by von Neumann probes and sold off to the Borg or whatever.
Oh, well, maybe they was just trying to keep the Enterprise busy so that they were pulling a heist on a bank vault in another system a little bit.
Exactly that. Anyone with telescopes.
The shadow vault was being raided.
The shadow depository.
Yes, exactly this one.
And Marta is off, and she's got a cowl on and an eye patch, and Jared is playing a little a sycophantic servant, and they go and do some spider woman.
Must have been a long con then to get Jared installed as the head of state at this planet.
Yeah, you'd think that would be the hardest part of this plan. Turns out it wasn't. It's crazy. It's crazy.
All right. Well, mine
sick Farscape end of season 2 reference, by the way.
Yes. Mine is going to be Worf walking around the Ardra starship, and specifically her wardrobe closet, looking in bewilderment at all the costumes and other outfits and whatever she has
and
stored up there.
Or?
Maybe coming face to face with the Felnak or whatever Feklar's thing was.
Oh yeah, wow. Maybe he wasn't completely shocked and terrified, but he quietly downloads the Feklar hologram to be added to his own personal little playlist. Got this some
Great Worf Recreational Program 14.
And lock the doors.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, that was kick-ass.
All right.
Hey, thank you, IronBoomer, for that recommendation, because IronBoomer, his recommendation was also based on all of that. It's Patrick Stewart and Brent Spiner and Marta Dubois.
All three are playing fantastically.
Yeah, having so much fun with it. So thank you so much for that recommendation.
So, what will there be?
Next time on an all-new episode of Star Trek.
because we're going to be reading another story
next week.
Next week, which our chief will select for us, which we're very excited. You'll be hearing that over the end credits. And after that, we'll be doing another episode that has been recommended to us.
And as usual, the chief has left a trail of breadcrumbs by reading us some quotes from the episode, and it is on our job to see if we can find out which episode it is.
And as always, there'll probably be one person who will recognize it way sooner than everybody else because they recommended it. And that person could have been you. If you sent in a recommendation by typing in the web URL,
joyoftrek.com/links.
Yeah, nailed it. Oh, I believe in you. And also, there you can find the links to our Patreon, where, hey, some new people have signed up through our Patreon.
Oh, very good. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
We appreciate you a lot. They're enjoying the GIF packs that we make of these episodes.
And the honorific of lemon-stealing whore.
Yeah, well, I don't know that they all enjoy that.
Well.
And I also don't know that they enjoy the monthly bonus episodes that we make together with the Chief. Hi, Chief!
5 minutes left and you call me to just say hi in the episode? Hi. Hi, everyone.
Looking forward to the next one,
in which we talk over an episode that we've already reviewed in this podcast.
Yep. Or sometimes, like, it's voted on by our lemon stealing whores, and sometimes it's an episode that neither they nor we expected.
Yes,
which has happened weirdly more than once. So let's find out the clue.
Yes,
ready for the first clue?
Bring it on.
That lovely tune is a traditional funeral dirge.
See, I wonder if maybe the chief has started doing very monotone reading to throw us off.
Could be.
Because see, I'm hung up on the pause. That lovely tune.
Yes.
Is it maybe the Doctor? He does that voice for the Doctor.
Oh, okay. Huh.
But also maybe for Shax?
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's do the next one.
In the past 24 hours, I've undergone rigorous diagnostic testing, submitted to an extensive psychological profile, and I've been poked and prodded in organs that I didn't even know I had.
Whoa.
Huh.
There's such an attitude. I think maybe it's a modern era.
I'm leaning more towards original series, but yeah. Who knows?
That's quite possible, actually.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
I have no,
Sex.
Oh.
I beg your pardon.
Sex. I beg your pardon. That sounds like the Doctor again, but Picard.
Interesting. Yeah, but then who says I beg your pardon?
Yeah, no, well, him would be sex. I beg your pardon. But he wouldn't have organs, but it might be a different thing. Okay. Well,
we're nowhere close.
No,
this is exciting. Exciting.
I suppose it would be like trying to extract the flour, eggs, and water after you've baked the cake.
What?
That quote sounds familiar. But I can't for life place it.
Oh, there was in that episode of Picard that we watched.
Yeah.
Where you had Dr. Maddox,
right? Yeah.
Who makes the cookies out of but that doesn't seem like it relates.
No. Okay.
Okay.
At what point did he become an individual and not a transporter accident?
Oh my God.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Is it the one with William T. Riker?
It's so much. Oh no, it's so much. Here, let's try the next one. Last clue.
A name. I can see why the Doctor's finding it so difficult to choose one.
Oh, is it?
Why don't you call me Nivok?
Tuvix.
Wait.
Yes.
You're right.
How about Tuvix?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Guys, we asked for Voyager episodes that weren't heart-wrenching moral dilemmas and like cheap
and we get this one.
And we get fucking...
Sorry.
Fine, tell us what it is.
Let's get our pitchforks out and get ready to argue with everyone in the comments because the episode is Voyager 224 Tuvix.
Kaki's having a bit of an apoplexy here, by the way, but...
And it's not at all because I'm not excited about this episode. I'm really excited about this episode. I am a huge fan of the episode Tuvix.
Okay.
It's just, wow, what a pull. And again, continuing the pattern of episodes being selected by Voyager. Okay, I'm impressed. I'm not even mad.
Well, I'm for one looking forward to watching it with you and talking about it.
Yay!
Which leaves us only with one more thing to do.
I'm leaving Starfleet.
Energize!
We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode with your friends Kay and Kaki. Production and editing by Chief Engineer Greg, and music by Fox Amore. join us next week for Hunting Hound by Leah, the fanfiction reading, followed by Tuvik's Voyager 224. Visit joyoftrek.com/links to send us recommendations, support us on Patreon, or to find us on Blue Sky. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to Joy of Trek, and we'll see you out there.